Lecture on somatosensory system part 2, and this is a continuation of the part 1. Blood supply of the somatosensory cortex. It is supplied by internal carotid artery branches. There are two branches, medial cerebral artery and anterior cerebral artery. Medial cerebral artery of internal carotid artery supply almost all areas of the S1 and S2 area. Primary somatosensory area and secondary somatic area. Now it supplies the lateral surfaces of cerebral hemisphere, while the anterior cerebral artery supply medial surface of cerebral hemisphere. These are the branches of internal carotid artery. Now venous blood finally drains into the superior sagittal sinus. Now there are the various functions of the somatosensory cortex. We must know one by one. Now the first is localization of sensation. The most important function is the localization of sensation. It is responsible for discrete localization of different sensations. It can pinpoint pain, tingling, touch, temperature, and other sensation. This is the main function of the somatosensory cortex area S1. That is the primary. Second function is perception of the pressure and the weight. Perception of weight. So the pressure perception is we can perceive different degree of the pressures. So it is essential to judge critical degree of pressure against the body. The third function is the weight perception. Approximately we can judge the weight of the object. And this function is also performed by the somatosensory cortex. Now the fourth one is the perception of the shape and the feeling of the texture. Perception of the shape means with the eyes closed, other sensations are not working, then the person can judge the shape with active touch. This property is known as stereognosis. This is pertain to the somatic associated sensory area number 40 along with 5 and 7. So this is the main area, Brodmann area 40, which is responsible for the for this stereognosis. Now the feeling of the texture, that S1 helps to judge the texture of the materials. Now this is the critical sensation caused by the movement of the fingers over the surface of the object. This is again performed by the somatosensory cortex. Now the most important again is the clinical significance of spatial recognition. Means that person can recognize the intensity and can recognize of the similarities and differences of the stimulus. Now this is because it is connected to the lower center, principally the thalamus. So with the thalamus, as it is connected, the fibers from the thalamus is connected to the somatosensory cortex. This is responsible for spatial recognition. So any lesion of the somatosensory cortex can produce decline in above mentioned symptoms. Now, according to the neurosurgeons, the primary somatosensory cortex is prone to the lesion and can produce the symptoms such as agraphesthesia. This is one kind of the disorder of directional cutaneous kinesthesia. It means the patient experiences difficulty in recognizing written number traced upon the skin. So this is done by palm writing subset. What we do in this, the patients are asked to identify whether it is X means cross or O 0. was written on their palm. So by this we can judge whether he is unable or she is unable to recognize, means that is agraphesthesia. Second similar type of the property defect is hemihypesthesia, when there is a reduction in sensitivity on one part of your body. This is called hemihypesthesia. In this condition, patient may not felt if touched on one side of the body. Other side is normal. So the hemihypesthesia may occur from the damage of the thalamocortical fibers found in the posterior limb of the internal capsule. Astereognosis or astereognosia. Astereognosia is inability to identify an item by the active touch of the hands. This is due to the damage of the Brodmann's areas 3, 1 and 2. Here it will produce contralateral hemihypesthesia. So there may be defective localization whenever there is a lesion. There is a defective localization, unable to discretely localize different sensations, but they can localize crude sensations. Crude sense localization is preserved, but unable to discretely localize different sensations of finer gradation. So this crude localization is possible because other part of the brain, such as brainstem, thalamus, other part of the cerebral cortex is intact. Second is defective pressure judgment. Person unable to judge the critical degree of the pressure against the body. When the pressure is applied, so he can judge the pressure is applied, but he cannot judge the degree and severity of the pressure applied. So defective weight judgment also another symptoms with the lesion we can perceive, that unable to judge the weight of the object. Astereognosis means person is unable to judge the shape or forms of different objects. Now this is the this is the almirah cabinet and is lifted by one person easily, but this person feels a lot of pain because he could not judge how much is. There might be possible that there is a unilateral lesion. The unilateral lesion of the somatosensory cortex causes sensory disturbances on the contralateral side of the body. This is very important. In the first part, I have told you that it receives contralateral sensations. The person remains unable to judge degree of pressure, warmth, temperature, unable to localize pain, tactile stimuli accurately, unable to judge the weight and shape of the object. There might be loss of muscle tone. Again, it is a symptom of the lesion of somatosensory cortex. Now, there are certain tests by which can diagnose these diseases, lesions. First and most important is evoked potential. This is the method to study cortical functions and connections. So evoked potential is the method to study the cortical functions and connections. When an impulse, sensory impulse passes through a nerve, means if the nerve is intact and we passes an impulse, then its route, its termination can be studied by recording the electrical potentials. Now this is done by using microelectrodes. we place the microelectrodes at different points along the course of the nerve fibers. Now the external stimulus when applied, electrical response is produced. Now this can be recorded by scalp electrodes. Now these scalp electrodes are of two types, exploring electrode and indifferent electrode. Now exploring scalp electrode placed on the surface of the head, and it will read primarily cortical area. This is recorded by the exploring electrode, while the indifferent electrode placed on the distant area of the head. And we get P1 and 1 P2 response. P1 is the first positive wave, N1 is the first negative wave by the primary evoked potential. P2 is the second positive wave followed by P1 and N1. So this is broader one, larger one. Now the point to be recorded that 5 milliseconds it occurs. This is point of the stimulus and this is the reaction time, means effect or response. Now this is the latent period. After the 0.5 millisecond, 5 to 10 milliseconds, the response P1 occurs. So P1 and 1 P2 response obtained in evoked potential. This is two types of the evoked potential. Primary evoked potential which appear after 5 to 10 milliseconds, and diffuse secondary evoked potential which follows the P1 and N1. So the primary evoked potential is the first positive wave followed by a negative wave, and it is highly localized, where primarily particular sensory pathway terminates, while the P1 and N1 followed by larger and prolonged positive wave, which is not localized. It is not localized because it is produced by diffused area of the cortex. Next slide. Evoked potential is diagnostic in somatosensory evoked potential, auditory evoked potential, and visual evoked potential. So by the evoked potential, not only the somatosensory evoked potential is important, but the auditory evoked potential we can obtain, and visual evoked potential is also diagnosed. And we can diagnose the lesions by scanning. There are three methods of scanning. Number one, CAT, computerized axial tomography. PET, positron emission tomography. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. And if you